hit some anytime goal scorers as well as save shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. Just realizing I haven't changed my banner. Happy Friday. It's time to talk some NHL playoffs. I cannot believe last night. How the heck did the LA Kings not extend out that series with the Edmonton Oilers, beating them for what? The fourth straight year in the first round. You got to really feel for the not the Edmonton Oilers, the Winnipeg, or sorry. I'm just all over the place as I tried to change my banner here. You really got to feel for the LA Kings. I just can't believe what has happened to this team, how they weren't able to get past the Edmonton Oilers. They weren't able to take away center ice, and that game started off with a bang. Last night, they didn't come out strong enough, and we all thought, what happened? Edmonton being able to get the win. They weren't the only team that got eliminated, though we did see the Minnesota Wild get eliminated, the Ottawa Senators get eliminated, and Colorado extend out that series. So craziness out there on the ice. Jo, good morning. Thank you for being here. Great to see that you've updated your profile picture for YouTube. Great picture there. And Kev, good morning to you as well. So one game on deck. This is going to be weird, you guys, looking at this first round wrapping up. For all of these teams, we've got one game today, one game tomorrow, and then if the series gets extended tonight, one game on Sunday before we jump into that second round. So I'm really going to miss talking a lot of games out there. The second round is going to be really different. We're not going to have a Pocket with Jo here on the daily, but just make sure you do stay tuned. We might get something done in baseball here. So always stay tuned to SportsGrid TV on X to make sure you're not missing out on anything over there. Let's jump into this game, you guys. The Winnipeg Jets are leading the series 3-2. Okay, so they come in here into St. Louis, a place where St. Louis has won their last 14 at home. The two playoff games here, of course, they've got that win, but that winning streak at home has come since February. So this team really has been able to step up. Does it come to an end here at home? Well, looking at the odds, the books don't think so. They're a minus 120 favorite here to win game number 6 and extend this series to game number 7. Home ice has been the storyline of this series. Plus 100 for the Winnipeg Jets if you think they can pull off that upset. And that total sitting at 5.5. Interesting to see that the under is where you're going to lay the juice at minus 148 with the trends that we've seen so far. In this series, we've seen those goals coming in, but I have to agree with the books. In an elimination game like this, you would expect that lockdown, not looking to make mistakes out here for the St. Louis Blues, but the Blues are a team that really step up offensively on their home ice, and they should be able to lock down on the defensive side as well. So what are we going to see out of Connor Hellebuyck becomes the biggest question here. If you want to back the Winnipeg Jets, we know he's being pulled in game 3 and game 4 in St. Louis. He was yanked out of the net. In those games, he had 11 goals against him before being yanked. He made 32 saves on 43 shots on his net. So just not good enough with a 744 save percentage. And ready for this number? This number is disgusting. A 7.13 goals against average in game 3 and 4 in St. Louis. So now Connor Hellebuyck, he had a fantastic game 5. He needed that confidence. He needed to come out nice and strong, get that win under his belt. So it was a 5-3 win. We saw in that game, the St. Louis Blues be held to 19 shots on goal. The Winnipeg Jets need to give Connor Hellebuyck the same protection in this game. We're going to look at block shots here for Josh Morrissey for sure in this one. I do think we're going to see him really step in front of Connor Hellebuyck. He's got to make those block shots. Give Connor Hellebuyck the confidence. It's going to be pivotal for this game in that first period for Connor Hellebuyck to make some big high danger saves out there, build that confidence in St. Louis and not get down. If we see the St. Louis Blues get down, there is no way I'm coming back in live betting the Winnipeg Jets. If we do see Winnipeg go up, though, you know this Blues team at any point could rattle. So I do think there's going to be a live betting opportunity, like grabbing the Blues plus 1.5 if we do see Winnipeg go up by 2 goals. Not thinking the Blues are going to win, because I will take the Winnipeg Jets to win, but I think it's going to be a 1-goal game. I think this really does come down to goaltending tonight. And I do think Connor Hellebuck will be in the right mindset as long as that first period goes the way the Winnipeg Jets need it to go. Either 1 goal for the Jets and no goals for the Blues. Either way, it's got to be just that low-scoring defensive battle. Winnipeg has to step in front of the puck. So my first bet in this one will be the Winnipeg Jets at plus 100 on the money line to finish out this series tonight and not allow the St. Louis Blues to push this to Game 7, breaking that home ice trend that we have seen so strong in the series and so strong for the St. Louis Blues. For this to happen, it's going to be Connor Hellebuck in goal that absolutely has to stand on his freaking head tonight. So 19 shots were only put on him in that last game. There's going to be more in this one. Even though the defense is going to get those block shots, we're going to look at Josh Morrissey. I expect him to go over 21.5 save shots on goal. Interesting to see that Jordan Binnington's number is the same. Both of these goaltenders have a save shots on goal of 21.5. Jordan Binnington, you're going to have to lay the juice at minus 130. Connor Hellebuck laying the juice at minus 122. I will take both of these guys. Offenses are going to be firing away tonight in this game. Winnipeg looking to close it out. And especially if we do see St. Louis bringing what they normally bring on their home ice, they bring that crash the net style hockey. Jake Neighbors in front of the net is deadly, you guys. If you're looking for a goal scorer, Jake Neighbors is going to irritate the heck out of Connor Hellebuck. He's going to be right in front of him. And he could get that little bit of puck luck, easy goal. So that's where I'd go with St. Louis over Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou and even Snuggerud. I really like the rookie Snuggerud. He could get the assist, but I do think it would be Neighbors if we're seeing that goal. I do expect this to be one of those grind them out games. This game is too meaningful for these teams to play pond hockey, but that's the problem here. I can't play this one to the under because of the juice, but I can't take it over either because this is playoff hockey and both of these teams need to really lock down. Now, the power play in the last game for the Blues went 0-1. The power play for the Winnipeg Jets went 0-2. Physical games out there, both laying 40 or more hits in those games, and Winnipeg put up 26 shots. Now, bad news for Winnipeg. Eller's not in the lineup because of his foot, but also Mark Scheifele went out in the first period of the last game. He didn't travel to St. Louis for this game. You would think they would want him for a little bit of moral support in the locker room going into this one. Just not sure why they don't travel with the team, but understandable. Undisclosed what is going on with Mark Scheifele, and still not guaranteed if the Blues do push this to game number 7 that we will see Mark Scheifele back out there on the ice, which takes away a huge optimal forward out here for the Winnipeg Jets. So the Winnipeg Jets have to play that defensive side with Mark Scheifele not on the ice. It has to be Josh Morrissey that has the best game out there, and Connor Hellebuck. Looking at Josh Morrissey, I told you guys we're going to look at his block shots on goal, but his shots on goal as well, I do think are in play. We're going to build a shot on goal prop, same game parlay. So stay tuned for that. But looking at Josh Morrissey first, he has over 1.5 shots on goal. It's juicy at minus 160. Again, we're going to throw that into a parlay. But looking at him, 8 shots on goal so far in this series. He had 2 shots in the last game, 3 shots in the game before. So I feel really comfortable with him over the 2 plus, over 1.5 shots on goal. But it's the block shots that I really want to get into. 3+ block shots for Josh Morrissey. Has he hit it? No. He had 7 block shots so far in this series, 2 in the last game, 1 in the game prior. But this is pivotal for Josh Morrissey to get in front of that puck. He has to take those hits to the body with the puck and put himself in front of Connor Hellebuck in this game, especially to help the confidence of Connor Hellebuck. I love Josh Morrissey for 3+ block shots. I know this is a hard market because we look at it and we think there's been other opportunities, like other shots that he blocked, and then we won't get it. The books don't count it as a block shot. It's really funny. It's funky how they do judge some of these shots. But I'm going to take a chance. Josh Morrissey for 3+ block shots coming in at plus 330. He has to have that big night. Now, also you have to see Kyle Connor coming alive in this one. 3 shots for Kyle Connor on a net. Tonight's coming in at minus 140. Again, we're going to throw this into a same game parlay. I don't love the juice solely, but when you're looking at it, he had 1 shot on goal in the last game, 3 in the game prior, and then in the 3 games prior, 2 shots in each of those, and 5 in the very first game. he needs to step up like he did in that very first game, get those shots, get those breakaways, and really hit Jordan Binnington. So I will look at Kyle Connor for the 3+ shots on goal. Would I be shocked if Kyle Connor gets a goal? Absolutely not. I'd look at Kyle Connor for that goal, for those points, and I would look at him to be able to get 2+ points. I do think Kyle Connor is the guy that needs to show up offensively. Josh Morrissey, of course, the defensive guy. So Josh Morrissey and Kyle Connor for a point, also a great way to look. I do think both of them can get that point on the board. Parlaying them together will get you plus money. On the other side, we talked about it. I will look at shots on goal. We're going to jump into that, but I just want to a couple of stats here. When you look at Connor Hellebuyck facing elimination, he's gone 3-1 in 4 games facing an elimination. So under that pressure, he has stood tall. When we look at Jordan Binnington facing elimination, he has gone in a series. He's gone 3-2. So better numbers here for Hellebuyck. You got to have faith that he is going to stand up here for the Winnipeg Jets if you're taking them. Yeah, the Winnipeg Jets cannot take the penalties. The penalties absolutely will tell the storyline of this game for sure. It's going to be crazy. Hockey funeral songs today. I don't get it. Okay, Shifley can fly. Do the concussion. Risk of stroke. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense that he can't fly for the concussion reasons. So I always forget the flight. He didn't travel to St. Louis. Of course, he has to get on a plane. So go Knicks. Next. Greetings, Joe. Let's make them freaking money. That is for sure. Sandberg is better. Okay, let's jump into this then, where we're going to go with the shots on goal, you guys. So I do think the block shot market we'll look at as well, but I like the shot on goal market tonight because I think both of these goaltenders are going to stand on their heads. So parlaying all 4 of these legs, we're going to take 2 players from each team. I do think those shots are coming. I do think goaltenders are going to duel this one out tonight. Whichever goaltender has the better performance will get the win. And I do believe in Connor Hellebuyck to be mentally sound and ready for this game. Elimination games, going 3-1 in his last 4. I do think he'll perform. He'll come up. And then Josh Morrissey will be able to give him those block shots. So let's look at the shots on goal. Kyle Connor, 2+ or over 2.5 shots on goal. So 3+ shots on goal for leg 1. Josh Morrissey, over 1.5 shots on goal. So the 2+ shots on goal. I'm just going to give you both ways to say it because it's different on each book. Jordan Kyrou, the St. Louis Blues. I do think he can go over 2.5 shots on goal. So that's a 3+ shots on goal. And then Robert Thomas, over 1.5 shots on goal. So that's a 2+ shots on goal for Robert Thomas. The problem with these shot markets is, remember, you guys, it's a 60-minute line. If this game goes into overtime, which I do think this game goes into overtime tonight, those shot on goal props are no longer in play. So this has to come in the regular 60 minutes out there. So Kyle Connor, over 2.5 shots on goal. Josh Morrissey, over 1.5 shots on goal. Jordan Kyrou, over 2.5 shots on goal, and Robert Thomas, over 1.5 shots on goal. I'm avoiding Jake Neighbors in this because he gets those gritty shots in front of the net, which it's just so hard for them to judge who touched that a couple times. So I'm going to look at all 4 of those players. They're coming in for their shots on goal parlayed together plus 757. So again, one more time, it's Kyle Connor over 2.5 shots on goal, Josh Morrissey over 1.5 shots on goal, Jordan Kyrou over 2.5 shots on goal, and Robert Thomas over 1.5 shots on goal at plus 757. The block shot market and the goal market. Let's jump into the goal market first. If you're looking at who I think can get that goal for the Winnipeg Jets, it is Kyle Connor. I will look at him there. You could go further down to Cole Porvetti at plus 340. I don't hate it. And then we know Gabriel Velarde did get back in the lineup in that last game. He's plus 240 for a goal. I'm going to be very cautious with the goals in this one. I don't want to see this play out to be pond hockey. I want that defensive battle. It's pivotal for that defensive battle to come in for the Winnipeg Jets to get the win, which is where my money is going. When I look at the St. Louis Blues, again, I do think because of the grittiness of Jake Neighbors in front of the net, you can see that puck hitting Connor Hellebuyck and then Jake Neighbors being able to get it into the net because he's standing there. So he's coming in at plus 350. That is where I would look. plus 350 for Jake Neighbors. I don't want to take anyone else. If you want to look at Kyrou, it's plus 190. Robert Thomas is plus 250. That's who I'd go with if you really want to take someone. Mason Appleton is an interesting look here for the Winnipeg Jets. So I like the value we're getting on Mason Appleton. He might be someone I just throw in for that last minute, coffee money kind of bet. Mason Appleton coming in at plus 625 for the Winnipeg Jets. Just so much value on him to show up, because you got to look at these players, because you got to think, where St. Louis is going to be. They're going to be all over the top players here for the Winnipeg Jets. So someone like Mason Appleton, if they can get open and get those shots, no one's expecting it. They're expecting him to pass that puck off. So I do think it's a great way to look. You've also got Dylan DeMello at plus 1,600 for the Winnipeg Jets. Those long shots, you guys know I always love a chance on. Nathan Walker's plus 900 for the St. Louis Blues, and same thing applies to them. I do think this is that low scoring, gritty game where you could get some of these unknown, like not unknown names, but really untalked about names being able to get something done. So that's the goal market. When we look at the block shots, the only player I really want to look for those block shots is Josh Morrissey here. So his number for Josh Morrissey for the 2+ block shots, if you don't want to take it all the way up to 3, the 2+ block shots for Josh Morrissey coming in at plus 115, it's still great value. I'm going to do the plus 115 for 2+, but I'm also going to fire it up to 3+ block shots for Josh Morrissey at plus 330. I can't say no to that plus money when you know he's going to put his body in front of that puck to give his goaltender that support. So that is where I'm going to go, you guys. Let's do a quick recap here and let's make some freaking money. I really hope this series comes to an end tonight. I am going to put my money there. Give me the Winnipeg Jets straight up on that money line. Give me Connor Hellebuck over 21.5 safe shots on goal to make that happen at minus 122. I think Jordan Binnington answers back over 21.5 safe shots on goal at minus 130. Again, those are 60-minute lines. We are going to take this game to go to overtime. That's coming in at plus 330 for the overtime bet. I'm then going to look at Kyle Connor for 3+ shots on goal at minus 140. We're going to throw that into a parlay. Give me Josh Morrissey for his 2+ block shots at plus 115. Give me Josh Morrissey for 3+ block shots at plus 330. And then let's look at that same game shot on goal parlay. Again, Kyle Connor over 2.5 shots, Josh Morrissey over 1.5 shots, Jordan Kyrou over 2.5 shots, and Robert Thomas over 1.5 shots on goal. That is coming in at plus 757. So you guys, all the best of luck out there on the ice today. Let's make some freaking money. Drop below this video who you are betting on to win this series. If you think the Blues win tonight, do you think the Winnipeg Jets answer back at home? I still think the Winnipeg Jets take this series, even if they lose this game tonight. But I think they finish it off here in 6 over the St. Louis Blues. It's going to be a great night out there on the ice. And this game is early enough, even on the East Coast, so you're not going to have to be up to midnight. So you guys enjoy this one. Enjoy your Friday. Stay tuned for my Cup of Joe and everything going on over on the grid. We'll see you back here tomorrow, noon Eastern. We'll be talking the Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche. Game 7. You know the Avs take it. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for